Welcome back, students. Today we are going to discuss part 5 of Unit 9, that is application of biology. Before I start the main content, I would like to inform that the images used in our slides are for education purpose only. We respect intellectual property right of the original creator and owner of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this PPT, have any concern, any issue, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. In this particular video lecture, we are mainly focusing on these 5 points like plant breeding for disease resistance to insect pest, plant breeding for improving food quality, what is biofortification, what is single cell protein, and some tissue culture techniques. Okay, so first point which we are going to discuss now is development of certain variety which are showing resistance to insect pest. Okay, as you know, this insect pest is one of the major cause for large scale destruction of crop plant, and crop produce is insect and pest infestation. This is the one of the major cause. Insect resistance in host crop plant, if some type of variety, some type of cultivar showing resistance, that particular insect resistance is because of certain kind of modification. Maybe it is at their morphological level or their biochemical level or physiological level. They have certain kind of characteristic which is not suitable for that particular pest. That type of variety show insect resistance. Okay, so like there are certain examples, like some insect pests show resistance to cotton plant. Some show a resistance to wheat plant. Okay, these cotton variety or wheat variety show resistance to their respective pest, like it is yes, a leaf hopper or sap sucking pest in cotton, and cereal leaf beetle for wheat. Okay, as in wheat, some wheat variety is showing solid stem. Okay, and this solid stem is not preferred by this particular insect. Okay, which insect? This stem sawfly. This one is this particular insect never prefer solid stem present in certain kind of wheat variety. Similarly, some insect known as bollworm, this bollworm do not attract that type of cotton variety which are showing smooth leaves and nectarless flower. Okay, so they have certain kind of modification. These morphologies is not attracted these kind of insect, so they are showing resistance. Okay, similarly, if we are talking about their biochemical level, so certain maize variety are having high aspartic acid content in their cell, low nitrogen content, and low sugar level. This type of maize is not preferred by some maize stem borer insects. So they are also having some kind of resistance for their insect pest. Okay, so we can now breed new species. We can generate new type of cultivar, new type of variety by taking these type of plant sample which are automatically showing resistance for some insect pest. And so I just want to tell you that all the steps are same, which already we have discussed in our previous lecture. Like in previous lecture, we have discussed development of certain kind of hybrid for hybrid which are having a capability to produce high yield or high quality crop plant. Okay, like through green revolution, which was very famous, and father of green revolution in India was very famous scientist, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Okay, he also follow the same strategy, just first identify high yielding plant and cross hybridization they can improve their growth or their yield quality. So I just want to tell you that all the steps are same, breeding methods are same. First one, we have to identify that type of crop plant, that type of variety or cultivar, right? And we can develop a new type of crop plant showing high yield as well as disease resistance for pets. Okay, like we have to, for that we have to first collect the seeds or plant type, or we can say germ plants plus we have to collect for that type of plant which are showing insect pest resistance. Okay, and then with the help of breeding method by hybridization we can develop new type of progeny. And again, through greenhouse we can analyze which type of, how many plants are showing resistance. Okay, then select all of them, and then again repetition, 3 to 5 generation, again breeding. With the help of breeding program we can further can generate pure line which are showing high yield as well as disease resistance or insect pest resistance. So all the steps are same. Okay, as you can see in this picture, there are certain crop variety which are showing resistance for various insect pests. Okay, and these all varieties has been developed by IARI, Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Like this Brassica variety Pusa Gaurav is showing resistance for aphids. This flat bean variety of Pusa 2, SAM 2, Pusa SAM 3 as showing resistance for aphids, jassids and food borer. Similarly, this okra or bhindi variety Pusa Savannah Pusa A4 showing resistance for shoot and fruit borer insect pest. So these type of variety has been developed by IARI. Okay, so now plant breeding for improved food quality. Okay, we have just now finished that particular topic, plant breeding for improving resistance for insect pests. Now plant breeding for improving food quality. Okay, so more than 840 million people in the world do not have adequate food to meet their daily food and nutritional requirement. Okay, and 3 billion people, approximately 3 billion people suffer from micronutrient, protein and vitamin deficiency, or we can say hidden hunger, because they cannot afford to buy enough fruit, enough vegetable, enough legume, enough meat. So they are showing malnutrition or deficiency symptoms in their body. Okay, so diet lacking essential micronutrients, particularly iron, vitamin A, iodine, and zinc, increase the risk for various diseases, including reduced lifespan and reduced mental ability. So these are very essential micronutrients. Okay, but because of the lack of food, most of the people already, which this data has been given in your NCERT book, that 840 million people in the world do not have adequate food, and out of this 840, 3 billion, okay, suffer from these type of hidden hunger symptoms. Okay, so for that there is a term known as biofortification. Biofortification comes, means breeding of crops with higher level of vitamin, minerals and higher protein. Okay, and healthier fat also. Okay, so breeding of the different type of crop to improving these content in the yield. Okay, development of that type of variety which are having high level of vitamins, high level of minerals, high level of protein, healthy fat in it. Okay, so breeding of for improvement nutritional quality is undertaking with the objectives of improving protein content, improving oil content, improving vitamin content and improving micronutrients. Okay, as you can see in this particular picture, there are two type of fortification. First one is traditional fortification. And another one, the modern one, is biofortification. Traditional fortification, in this particular type of category, food processing comes. Means traditionally we can improve the vitamin content inside a particular type of food type. Like milk has been traditionally fortified to contain vitamin D for years now. Okay, but in biofortification we have to choose any two type which through which we can modify a particular type of crop and improving these important content. Like selective breeding, means out of the most of the plants we have to select only those type of plant with, like in as you can see in this particular picture, there are two type of plants, one with bright leaves, another one is having dull leaf as compared to this one. So we have to choose the bright leaves plant and then start breeding with this plant only. So selective breeding, plant with bright leaf make more plants with bright leaves. So this is one way we can select more good type of plant which comparatively showing healthier symptom as compared to their counterpart, and so that we can generate more healthy or more promising variety. Similarly, with the help of genetic modification, means we can modify a plant type with the help of molecular tools like genetic engineering. With the, like at genetic level we can modify particular plant type, or we can say development of transgenic plants, right? Like this corn could be biofortified using genetic modification, so that we can improve their vitamin content, we can improve their protein content, or we can improve their other important minerals inside it. So biofortification is a breeding program, breeding of different type of crop for improving vitamins, minerals, higher protein, healthier fat in it. Okay. So as you can see in this particular picture, biofortification are of we can classify like at the genetic level. As just now I told you, development of transgenic plants. So at the genetic level, we can change the gene, we can change the sequence, nucleotides. Okay, so with the help of genetic techniques or with the help of genetic engineering, or in a conventional way, we can with the help of different type of inorganic fertilizer, different type of biofertilizer, organic fertilizer, we can improve the quality of that particular type of crop. And this is the conventional breeding. With we can hybridize or start breeding with the high quality plant which are showing most good what is the right term for that, high quality of plant, which the plant type or breed type which are showing high yield, or which are showing high mineral content, protein content, vitamin content, or iron content, or mineral content. Okay, so after this is a conventional breeding type. Okay, so this is a picture which with the help of which you can easily understand what is biofortification. Now in 2000, in this year 2000, maize hybrid that had twice the amount of amino acids. Which amino acid? Lysine, tryptophan, compared to the existing maize hybrid were developed via this ICAR only. Maize hybrid which are having twice amount of amino acids, lysine and tryptophan. Similarly, for the improvement of wheat variety, a particular type of wheat variety known as Atlas 66 is used as a donor for improving other cultivars of the wheat to improving their protein content, as this Atlas 66 is having high protein content in it. Okay, so this particular variety is used as a donor for improving various other wheat cultivars. Okay, so it has been possible to develop a iron fortified rice also. Iron fortified means rice containing much more iron in it. Okay, containing over 5 times as such iron as in commonly consumed iron. Okay, so as you can see in this particular picture, these all varieties are developed by ICAR, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, IARI, sorry, New Delhi. Um, these variety has been released time to time, and these are rich in various vitamins, various mineral content. As you can see, these three: sweet potato, cassava, maize, these are rich in vitamin A. Similarly, this banana is also developed by IARI, which is showing rich content in vitamin A. Some others like cowpea, Irish potato, sorghum, wheat, rice, lentils, these are rich in both iron and zinc. Okay, so these are variety already developed by IARI, and already so many research work is going on how we can improve uh, quantity and quality of various crop in these type of research institute, which are mainly focusing on um, crop type and to improve the farming, right? So these are certain examples like vitamin A, enriched carrot, spinach, pumpkin is already developed by IARI. Vitamin C enriched bitter gourd, bathua, mustard, and tomato is also developed by IARI. Iron and calcium enriched spinach and bathua also developed by them, this institute. And protein enriched beans, broad labala, French beans, garden peas also developed by various institute of India as well as abroad also. So next topic which we are going to discuss over here is single cell protein. Conventional agriculture production of various cereal, pulses, vegetable, fruits may not be able to meet the demand of food at the rate at which human and animal population is increasing. The shift from grain to meat diet, also create more demand for cereals, as it take 3 to 8 kg of grain to produce 1 kg of meat by animal farming. Okay, more than 25% of human population is suffering from hunger and malnutrition. So for this, one alternative source of protein is single cell protein. Okay, so what is single cell protein? These are some microbes. Actually, these are some microbes. Okay, which are grown on an industrial scale as a good source of protein. Like spirulina, this can be grown easily on the material like wastewater, potato processing plant, straw, molasses, animal manure, and even on sewage to produce large quantity and can serve as a food rich in protein, minerals, vitamins, and so on. Okay, incidentally, such utilization also reduce environmental pollution. Okay, because we can use this waste product as a source for the production of microbe. Okay, so it has been calculated that 250 kg cow produce 200 gram of protein per day. But 250 gram of microorganism like Methylophilus, Methylophilus, because of its high rate of biomass production and growth, it can be expected to produce 25 ton of protein. 25 ton of protein has been developed by or produced by only 250 gram of microbes. Okay, so single cell protein is also a very good option as a food material, as these are rich in protein content and these can utilize some waste as their food. Okay, so the fact that mushroom also, another example is mushroom. This mushroom, as you know, these are eaten by many people, and large scale mushroom culture is growing in industry, make it believable that microbe too would become acceptable as a food. Okay, now the next topic of this particular video lecture is tissue culture. As traditional breeding technique failed to keep pace with demand and provide sufficient fast and efficient system for crop improvement. So there is a technique known as tissue culture comes into the main tool to develop high quantity of crop or agriculture products or agriculture needs. Okay, so what is tissue culture? Let's understand the term first. When the whole plant could regenerate from an explant. What is this explant? Means any part of the plant, any part, maybe leaf, maybe stem, okay, and that any part of the plant taken out and grown in a test tube under a sterile condition in a special nutrient media, and this development of whole plant from any part of the plant is known as plant tissue culture technique. Okay, so what is tissue culture? Development of whole plant from an explant. What is explant? Any part of the plant taken out and grown in a test tube under sterile condition in a special nutrient media. Okay, so this capacity to regenerate whole plant from any explant, any cell of the plant is known as totipotency of that particular cell or explant. Means this quality to regenerate whole plant from any explant or any cell, this quality is known as totipotency. Okay, in the presence of some kind of nutrient media, and that nutrient media contains some carbon source, some nitrogen source, some vitamins, amino acid, growth regulators like auxin, cytokinin, etc. Okay. So by the application of these methods, it is possible to achieve propagation of a large number of plants in a very short duration of time. Okay. So this method of production of thousands of plants through tissue culture is called micropropagation. What is micropropagation? Production of thousands of plants under controlled environment in Petri plates or in jar. Okay. This is known as micropropagation. Production of thousands of plants through tissue culture is called micropropagation. Okay. And each of these plants will be genetically identical. To whom? To the original plant from which they were grown. So we can use the term soma clone for the same. They are same at their genetic level because they have there are so many plants has been developed from a single leaf, a small part of the leaf. Okay, so they all are genetically identical and we can use the term soma clones for the same. Clear? Now, many important food plants like tomato, like banana, like apple have been produced on commercial scale using this tissue culture technique. Another important application of the method is to recovery of healthier plant from the diseased plant. What is another important application of tissue culture? Recovery of healthier plant from the diseased plant. How this thing is possible? We can just isolate their meristem part. Means if a plant is infected with a virus, for example, if a plant is infected with a virus or viral disease, their apical part and their axillary part are still virus free. So we can do one thing, we can just isolate this apical part or axillary part, which is virus free, and this There is a right term for this apical and axillary part is meristem. So we can say that we can separate out this meristem. We can remove the meristem from that particular infected plant and grow it in vitro, means artificial media, and this is how we can generate virus free plant from that disease plant. So this is another important application of this tissue culture. Okay. Now, scientists also, so with the help of this type of tissue culture technique, scientists have culturing so many meristems of various fruit type like banana, sugarcane, and potato. Fruit or vegetable or crop, we can say, and means important plants. Okay. Scientists have even isolated a single cell from plants, and after digesting their cell wall, has been able to isolate naked protoplasm. Means that protoplasm is surrounded by plasma membrane, but they have just removed their cell wall. Okay. So isolated protoplasm from two different variety of the plant, each having a desired character, can be fused together and produce a hybrid protoplast. Okay, which can further grow and form a new plant. Like this is a cell, this is another cell. Now, scientists just remove the cell wall. This outer covering is cell wall, this one is cell wall, this one is cell membrane, the inner membrane, this is cell membrane. They just remove the cell wall and then fuse to protoplasm. The inner content is known as protoplast. So this is how they can generate hybrid protoplast. So this is having character of both the plants, right? So with the help of this technique, which is known as somatic hybridization. Okay, this technique is known as somatic hybridization. Scientists also develop different plant variety which are having character of both the plants. Okay, and this technique is known as somatic hybridization, and these hybrid is known as somatic hybrids. Okay, once again I'll repeat the same thing. Isolated protoplasm from two different variety can be fused together, which are having two other different characteristic. They can be fused together and get a hybrid protoplast, and this is how we can able to grow a new plant which are having property of both the plants. And this technique is known as somatic hybridization, and the hybrid generated through this protoplasm fusion technique is known as somatic hybrids. Clear? Now, when a protoplast of tomato is fused, this is an example. If a protoplasm of tomato is fused with the protoplasm of potato, then what will happen? A new hybrid plant has been developed, which are having characteristic of both tomato and potato. Okay, and they this type of new hybrid plants also developed by the scientist. But and this type of hybrid plant is known as pomato. Means this pomato is having characteristic of potato, means development of potato as well as development of tomato. Okay, but unfortunately this plant doesn't show the desired combination, and that's why this pomato is not used as on commercial level. Okay, it is not commercially useful. Okay, but this is a technique which is used by some other plants also, where it shows some very good results. Okay, so this is all about the today's lecture. I hope most of the content has been cleared now. If you have any query, any doubt related to today's topic, you can write down to me in comment box. We will discuss it later on. Till then, take care, bye bye, and keep learning.